I remember turning around and heading for the door, and then just everything went black, and I remember a loud noise going over my head like the flyer was shooting across the ceiling.
On February 20th, 2003, Nancy Noyes' life changed forever.
I headed for the door, and I don't remember anything until I was outside, holding my hands in the air, pretty much probably smoking.
She survived the station nightclub fire, and while some of her memories are foggy, certain ones to this day remain vivid.
The people that were stuck in the doorway, that just will never leave you, no matter who you are, because you know they're not going to make it out. Everybody got piled up in the door. That's why people couldn't get out.
100 people died from the fire and more than 200 were injured. Like most survivors, Nancy spent several months in hospitals and in physical therapy. After complicated surgeries and years of recovery, Nancy says, these days, most of her injuries don't even seem to get in the way of her day-to-day life.
When I do paint, it hurts. Anything where I'm pinching, it hurts. So writing or painting, things like that, it starts to ache after a while. But I can do most everything, so it's not that bad. It just looks kind of bad.
10 years later, Nancy has recovered about as much as she can. The Connecticut native is happily married to her husband, Alan, with whom she still shares a love for rock and roll music. When it comes to what happened that night, she says she doesn't dwell on it anymore, and life is about as good as it can be.
How you guys doing?
Really good. I couldn't be doing better. So it's a great end to the story, I guess you could say, you know.
Bells tolled throughout the world Wednesday as Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio of Argentina became the new leader of the Catholic Church. In Hartford, Archbishop Henry Mansell reacted to the news.
An historic day for the Church and for the world, one which we will recall for years to come, where we were, what we were doing at the time.
Pope Francis I will be written into the history books as the first non-European pope since the 8th century. And the first pope ever from South America.
The first time in my life I really got like all goosebumps, because I know the feeling of what it means for the people in Latin America.
Gabriela Galarza Block is a resident in Hartford, but she is also an Argentinian native, coincidentally going back to her homeland this week to share in the celebrations.
In Argentina they were doing like the World Cup, like everybody, with the flags outside and like chanting about Argentina and the new pope. And I want to see that.
Bergoglio is largely seen as a simple conservative amongst his peers, but he's also a proponent of decentralization of the church. Whatever his stance may be on these issues, people here in Connecticut just want some sort of unity.
In his own life, his own example, he showed himself committed to poor people, committed to people across the world.
Now the anticipation for a new era awaits.